Today on Two for Tuesday, we have two traveling knives. First is this little Peanut, which a couple weeks ago I did a first impressions video on this. We have a beautiful leather slip here, made by J.O. Ventures Outdoors, and you can see the footprints on it indicating it's a traveling knife, and the beautiful texture he's put on it. Now, onto the knife itself. You have two blades. You have a very small pen blade. And the main blade. You can see how tiny this thing is. Here is it next to the Victorinox Classic. So as you can see, the knife is tiny. And my conclusion of this, I tried carrying it, and I found it to be of no use having this knife in my pocket. But what I did find it useful for is a desk knife. This can be used for opening mail, just cutting little things, doing little tasks that you'll have in an office. So you don't have to, especially when you're sitting down, you don't have to reach in your pocket, kind of squirm a little bit sideways in the chair and reach in your pocket to get a knife out. You can have a small knife like this sitting on your desk, ready to go for when you have little cutting tasks. So that's what I found this to be useful for. And the second knife is this Grandway. And you can see again, this is a beautiful leather belt sheath. You can see the leather loop on it. Again, made by J.O. Ventures Outdoors, and with the footprints indicating it's a traveling knife. He did some nice artwork on it. Stitching is really nice. Now let's take a look at the knife. Good retention. If you have this thing on your belt, it's not going anywhere. So you have wood handles. I'm going to assume these are nickel silver bolsters and stainless steel liners. There you can see Grandway, which is a Ukrainian company. But the blade itself is made out of 440C. So it is an upgrade over the standard steels that you get on traditional knives. Now let's bring out another knife for a size comparison. Here's it next to a Buck 110. And you can see the blades are about identical size. Now I could tell the Buck 110 definitely is heavier. But you get the same blade length. You get a drop point instead of a clip point, and a little bit less belly on this knife. Now, this is not a knife that I would carry in my pocket. You really do need the belt sheath in order to carry it, because it is just a little bit too large and a little bit too heavy, and it's pretty thick. So as you can see, there's the Buck 110, and the wood is pretty thick on it, so overall it comes out to be about the same thickness. So that is definitely not a pocket knife. Although in my younger years I carried this very Buck 110 as a pocket knife. I wouldn't do that anymore. So what do I see this knife being used for? Well, what I picture this knife as, I can picture it in my head as something that my grandfather would have used in the 1950s, even the 1940s, on a hunting trip, where you would take a vehicle and go out in the middle of nowhere, bring supplies with you. You'd bring cans of food, because canned food used to be a lot more popular. And, oh, by the way, that's a locking knife. Canned food used to be a lot more popular, and even when I was a kid, all your drinks came in glass bottles where you needed a bottle opener to open them. Even soda, it all came in bottles. You would open it, drink the beverage, take it back to the store, and it would be recycled. They would clean the bottles and fill them and sell them again. Now this has another tool here besides the bottle opener. And on J.O.'s video, he used this as a can opener. I could also see this working very well as an awl if you had to make some repairs in the field. It would be no problem poking a hole through some leather or other material and to sew something up. You could also use this to make draw cuts. That would make a good package opener. So there's a bunch of different utility options for this tool. But to me, this knife, it speaks to me of a of an era long ago gone by, and something that, like I said, our grandparents would have carried out on a hunting camp. So why would I carry this knife? And the answer is I would not carry this knife. It's a little too outdated. Now I'll show you the knife that I've been carrying today. That's a Benchmade 940. This is one that I custom built and put together. This is not something that you can buy. Let's take a look at the blade length. Not much difference there, is there? The height of the blade, again, pretty close. Now let's take a look at it compared to the Buck 110. Again, you'll see about the same blade length. Not much difference at all in the height of each blade. So in all three of these knives, we're looking at approximately the same blade. Now, let's take a look at a scale. We're going to weigh some of these. Let's start with the Buck 110. 7.6 ounces. Now let's look at the grand weigh. 5.1 ounces. Oh, went down to 5 ounces. Okay, 0. Let's try one more time without it rocking. Okay, it was bouncing between 5 and 5.1, but we're going to call it 5 ounces. Now let's take a look at the 940. 2.3 ounces. With a pocket clip, carbon fiber, one-hand operation, even left-handed, M4 blade. So this blade is far superior to either one of these other blades. Which would you rather carry? So in my conclusion, these knives are very nostalgic. The Grandway is very nostalgic. But for a practical, everyday carry knife today, it's outclassed by our modern materials and our modern knives. There's no reason to carry this stuff. It's bigger, it's bulkier, it's heavier, it weighs you down, it will not hold an edge. I mean, not even close. This is 420H. Actually, I'm not even sure. This predates 420HC. I have to look up. I don't remember what steel this is because this knife is from the 1980s, mid 1980s. This is 440C. This is M4. So these knives don't hold a candle to what we can get today. This knife is much more efficient. I'm going to make a future video on what makes a knife efficient. So unless you're going out on a hunt, say with a muzzle loader, and you're using old materials, old tools, and doing things the old way for fun, for nostalgia, there's no reason in today's day and age to carry these. We have so much more available to us in our modern knives and modern steels and modern materials. We'll see you on the next one.